Hey, you guys, welcome to Talk About It Thursdays. I am your host, Karen Bailey. Please let me know when you're on. I would love to say hello to you guys. Happy Thursday, or as I like to say, pre-Friday. We'll give everybody a minute to jump on and then we will get started for today. Hoping and praying everybody's having an amazing day, that you're not working too hard. And if you are working, that you're being productive and that you're making a difference where you are. You know, our whole purpose in being here is to be salt and light and to be the difference. You know, even in our workplace, in our family, in our church, you know, we need to be the light no matter where we go. That doesn't change. No matter what the circumstance, no matter what the situation, we're called to be the light. And so let me know when you guys are on and we will get this party started for today. Okay, you guys, let's go ahead and get started. Because y'all know me, I like to go ahead and get started because we all have a lot of stuff we need to get done. And it seems like there's not enough hours in the day to get it all done. Last week, our topic was, it came to pass. You know, about how things in our lives, you know, they happen and they're not there to stay. You know, whatever that negative situation was, whatever that struggle was that you went through, it's meant to pass through. And you just have to be strong. You just have to trust in God and just believe that if God brought you to it, God will bring you through it. But that's what we talked about last week, and I hope you guys got something out of that message then. Well, today's message is just simply, so just chill to the next episode. You know, a lot of times we get ourselves so worked up over things in life, and then we look back later and we ask ourselves, you know, why did we let that upset us so much? Why did we overreact? Why did we make such a big deal? Why did we throw such a temper tantrum over that? And just remember, people remember what you do. So it's kind of hard to gain people's respect when they've seen you clowning and showing out and overreacting. Hey, Miss Christelle. So that's what we want to talk about today. We want to learn how to just chill, you know, to the next episode. You know, just like last week, I said, this too shall pass. Things are going to pass. Things are going to blow over. And you just make sure that you are conducting yourself in the proper manner while you're going through. So today I want to talk about 6 things. Number 1, the power of just saying okay. Number 2, don't make people lie to you in order to leave you. Number 3, stop looking for closure where there is none. Number 4, learn to say okay. You don't always need to know the what, when, or the why. And then number 5, stop arguing with foolish people. And I use the word foolish. You can put whatever you want in that blank. But we've all dealt with some ignorant people, etc., etc. And then number 6, chill to the next episode. So let's talk about the power in just saying okay. You have to understand, people give off energy, whether bad or good. And when you exert yourself, when you spend your whole day being upset over something or spending your whole day trying to prove a point, trying to prove that you're right, you're using all of that energy that could be used somewhere productive. So we need to learn that we have the power, because our mental health is just that important to us. It's just that valuable. You have to learn how to preserve your peace as much as possible. And sometimes it's all about responding back, okay, to that person that's sending you that text message, going off on you. You know, you may not have done anything wrong, or you know that they're overreacting. Sometimes just say okay, because that transfers that negative energy, all of that bad juju they were trying to put on you. They want to get in a fight with you. Just say okay. because what it does, it makes them have to think about how they responded. And therefore, you maintain your mental health and you maintain your peace. You have to learn to just say okay and ask God to deal with people about certain things, because sometimes no matter what you do, it's still not going to be right. No matter what you do, somebody's going to have a problem with it. So it's not worth your mental health and it's not worth your peace. So we need to learn to just respond back okay sometimes, okay? Because therefore you still have the power. You have not lost control. You have not let your emotions get the best of you. And then B, there's power in reacting in a way that others don't expect. Just like I say, when they expect you to fight back with them, when you don't, it requires them to have to sit back and think about how they're acting. And it calms them down simply because you can't fight if you don't have anybody to fight with. If they're not engaging with you in that bad behavior, you're going to get tired of doing it for yourself. So that's how you calm a situation down. Sometimes you just have to say okay, whether you're right, whether you're wrong, just for the sake of peace, you guys. And then C, learning to say okay shows that you have maturity and that you have control over your own emotions. You know, a lot of times people just want to see you get out of your character, take you out of that persona that other people see you, that respect that they see you. Sometimes people make it their goal to try to show people you're not who you say you are, that you're some kind of pretender, that you're fake, or you're not a Christian, you're not this. Some people are so miserable, their whole goal in life is to show you up. And you have got to learn to take control over this mouth and over those emotions so that you don't make a fool out of yourself, because you have too much at stake. When you've earned a great reputation, when you've worked really hard to change your life and do things for the better, all it takes is one incident for people to lose respect for you. And sometimes you never get that back. And you work too hard to be where you are, to allow somebody lower than you, somebody with a small mind, to drag you into a fight and cause you to act in a way that you've outgrown. So sometimes saying okay is just a sign of maturity and that you have control of your emotions. Okay? And then D, by saying okay instead of getting into a heated argument or debate, you leave the door open to come back and conversate later. You know, sometimes we can get so mad and get so caught up in the conversation and get pissed off about it. And they said this, so I said this back. They called me this, so I called them that back. Don't allow childish people to pull you into that. Because as an adult, name calling is childish. So you have to understand the goal is let that person calm down, come back and revisit it later. Because when you say okay, you have nothing to backtrack from. You have nothing to go back and apologize for because you got heated and in the moment. So learn to say okay so that you can have control over the situation. And then you leave the door open maybe 2 or 3 days later to say, hey, you know that conversation we had the other day and you were so upset? You know, I didn't want to make you any more upset. I knew I couldn't talk to you at that moment, but I would like to discuss, you know, what you were so upset about now that some time has passed and you've had some time to cool down. But you can't leave that door open if you jump right in there and act just like they do. So you have to be the bigger person a lot of times, especially if that relationship is important to you, and you have to be the one to leave that door open and let them go on and get all that frustration out. Then you can come back and hopefully sit down and have a mature conversation with them. But if they're still wanting to fight a few days later, that person shouldn't be in your circle. That person is not for you, because there's nothing worse than two heated, ignorant people going at each other. Nothing ever gets accomplished. So recognize it for what it is and leave yourself a door. Sometimes just saying okay gives everybody time to cool down and think, and then you can have a strategy as to how you want to approach it when you want to come back and talk again. Okay? And then E, okay, simply means that you are willing to respect somebody else's opinion. And that's a maturity thing right there, because we always want to defend ourselves. You know, people may tell us that we did this or we did that, or they didn't like the way we did this, or what they did offended them, you know, or what we did offended them. And we are so quick to want to bite back and defend ourselves. Sometimes we just need to say, okay, and respect that other person's opinion, and then let them know, I'm sorry you felt that way. I'm sorry I came off that way, but that was not my intention. But okay, I do apologize because I did not want you to feel that way. So okay is your willingness to respect somebody else's opinion, and then even somebody else's ideas. Because, you know, sometimes we are just so bullheaded. We think we know everything. Sometimes if you would just say okay and listen, somebody may have a better idea than you, but you can't find that out if you're always thinking you're right, or if you're always wanting to be in charge of everything. Learn to say okay so you can find out what else is out there, what other ideas are out there besides your own. And then F, okay is a sign of acceptance and willingness to surrender and follow the plan. You know, sometimes when God changes things up, we talked about that last week, about how God, and the week before also, about how God can change our plans. Sometimes all you need to say to God is okay, because God knows the end from the beginning. You know, a lot of times we're so upset about not getting our own way, we don't realize sometimes we're actually in our own way. And God is trying to clear the way, and sometimes he has to knock you down a little bit because you're the one that's the obstacle. But learn to say okay. Okay, God, I don't know what you're doing. Okay, God, I know that you want the best for me. Okay, God, I know if you took this away from me, it was not meant to be in my life. So learn to have the power to say okay, because that's a choice. You don't always have to fight against God. Sometimes all you have to do is just say, okay, God. And that's a sign of trust. And that's a sign of surrender, and just being willing to allow God to lead you and follow in his orders and in his steps. Now, number 2, don't force people to lie to you. You know, a lot of times we can make people feel so guilty about saying no to us or about leaving us that they have to lie to us, you know, because they're trying to make us feel better about a decision that they've made. But don't force people to lie to you. Don't make people have to lie to you in order to leave you. Number 1, allow people to leave in peace rather than forcing them to stay out of guilt. There's nothing like a person that's with you and don't want to be with you. If you've never experienced that before, I don't recommend it. It's horrible, because you feel like you're stuck. They're stuck. You don't understand what's wrong with them. They're not honest enough to say, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be with you. I don't even like you. I don't respect you. Rather than them just telling the truth, they will lie not to hurt your feelings, or they'll lie simply because they know you are so invested in them and that all of your emotions are tied up in them. That's why the Bible talks about our heart being so deceitful. You know, you can't always trust your heart, because the heart wants what it wants, but that doesn't mean that that's what God wants for you. And that doesn't mean that that's the best thing for you. And sometimes people know when it's their time to leave, but because you make such a big production out of it, or because you act like it's going to be the end of the world, if they leave, they begin to lie to you. And then they end up staying out of guilt, and everybody's miserable. Eventually, the relationship is going to end. And that's just like a child, an adult child, you know, who is that last child to leave the nest. And maybe mama is a single mom, and they're afraid to leave mama by herself. But that child is going to be miserable simply because he's worried about mama. You know, but he still wants to spread his wings and fly. Hey, Kawana, spread his wings and fly. So don't force people to lie to you in order to leave you. You know, that don't make that child feel guilty that you're going to be all by yourself. You know, look at that time when you're going to become an empty nester as a time to reinvent yourself. This is your time. You have done your job. You have raised your children. Your children are out there doing it for themselves. Don't make those children, those adult children, feel bad simply because you don't want to be by yourself. That's not fair. Everybody has their time to leave the nest. Allow those children to leave, and you wish them well. Don't make them feel guilty just because you're not in a relationship or you're not used to being by yourself. You will get over it. You will learn how to be your own person again without having to be mama all the time, without somebody needing you all the time. I've gone through that. I recently went through that, and I'm enjoying it now. It was hard at first, but I wanted my youngest son to grow and see the world and experience things for himself. I didn't want him worrying about mama and who was trying to talk to mama, who was trying to move in here. He know I'm not going to let anybody move in here. But those are the things your adult children, especially those boys, those boys are protective of mama. So it's your job as the mama to let them know it's okay for you to move on. And don't force those children to have to stay with you and be unhappy when they want to get out there and experience life for themselves. And number 2, don't make people make up excuses, and that they got to try to keep up with just because they tell you they can't do something for you. One thing I hate is a person that comes up with 1,000,001 excuses. If you can't do it, that's fine. Just say you can't do it. But then they come up with this big long list of excuses, and they're looking at you, trying to see if you believe them or not. Don't force people to lie to you, you guys. We have got to learn to be okay with people making their own decisions. Learn to say, you know what, you good. Thank you. I appreciate you anyway. And let them go on. But don't make them feel like it's the end of the world just because they say no to you or that's not something they want to do. Okay? And then learn to be okay when someone outgrows the relationship they're in with you. Nobody wants to believe that people can outgrow them. But that's just part of life. The same friends that you had, when you were younger, they're on a different track sometimes than you. They got different goals. They're at a different mindset than you, and that's okay. Some are going to be ahead of you and some are going to be behind you. And so don't make them feel guilty when they want to move on, when they want to branch out and meet new people, people that are where they want to be in life. Don't feel jealous about that. Encourage them to branch out and grow. That's what a true friend does. Encourage them to branch out and grow. Don't make them feel sorry for you. Don't make them have to lie to you as to why they can't spend as much time with you. You have to give people room to spread their wings. Okay? And just understand, when a person outgrows you, they have a right to leave you. Nobody is controlled by you. Nobody really owes you anything. And number 2, bullying and threats won't make them stay. So, don't try to throw your weight around, or don't try to act like, you're never going to talk to them again if they don't spend time with you. Don't do those things to people. Just allow them to be who they need to be at the time in their life. And then you find you something to do. You find you some other friends that are doing something that you're trying to do later on in life. And maybe you can spread your wings and grow a little bit. And then number 3, and don't lie to people when you know the relationship has run its course. You guys, we are bad about that, especially those of us that are kind-hearted. We don't ever want to hurt anybody's feelings. But you know what? I found out when you lie to people and you stay with people when you really don't want to be there, or when you really realize that your time is up, eventually you end up hurting them, or they end up hurting you. And then you think back and you say, man, I should have ended this a long time ago. Man, I should have ended this last year. What happened today would have never happened if I'd have just been strong and told the truth and let them go on their way. So a lot of times you cause even worse pain when you stay in a situation where it's time for you to go. And don't lie to people, and let them know why you're leaving. Let them know that you don't feel like it's working. Let them know that you want to meet some other people. You want to branch out and you want to explore the world and understand what it's like to be with different kinds of people. and then learn how to support one another from a distance. One thing I've learned, just because I don't spend time with people every day, just because I don't call people every day or text them every day, they know I got their back. If they ever ask me for something, ever ask me to do anything, that's how you support from a distance. When I see on Facebook, people that I used to be close to, hey Steffi, that I used to be close to, that I'm not as close to anymore, that doesn't mean you don't love them. That doesn't mean you don't still support them. You just learn how to support them from a distance. When you see their birthdays coming up, you send them a happy birthday. You support whatever business they're doing. That's what you do. Don't force people to have to stay with you when it's time for them to move on. Learn how to love people from a distance and learn how to support people from a distance. See, recognize that goodbye could actually be a blessing. Hey, Deborah. Sometimes goodbye is a blessing. Sometimes you don't even realize how much somebody's holding you back, or they don't realize how much you are holding them back until they get out of the relationship with you, or until they get around other people and stop spending so much time with you. Sometimes goodbye is actually a blessing. The reason I say that is, number one, understand that sometimes goodbye is God's plan. Sometimes God only intended for you to be in a situation for a little period of time, or be around people for a little period of time. Sometimes God can't let you stay there because you get comfortable, you get settled, you get lazy, if you stay there. So sometimes goodbye is actually a blessing because it teaches you how to love people enough to let go. And God wants us to continually move forward. And sometimes when you're in relationships with people, they're good where they're at, but that may not be where you're supposed to stop. And so sometimes you have to say goodbye so you can keep on your own journey, because God has something else for you to do. And so learning to say goodbye with a peaceful heart, with a loving heart, it will help you mature. It'll help you grow. It'll keep you from backbiting and talking about people and gossiping about people just because they're not around you, and saying people think they're too good and they're this, they're that. God has a way of maturing us up. And sometimes He has to take things away from us so that we can understand He took it away for a reason. Number two, understand that desperate people do desperate things. So be careful about staying too long, because sometimes you will get codependent, and then you'll be so desperate for that person. Not only will you not leave, you won't let that person, out of your sight, or won't let that person grow, won't let that person have their own individuality, without you being present. And before long, that's going to get old, that's going to get tired, and you're going to end up getting hurt. So you have to be careful about being desperate for another person. We should never wrap ourselves up into another person so much that we feel like we can't live without that person. You got to remember, God is a jealous God. You're not supposed to love anybody like that except for Him. So understand that desperate people do desperate things. And sometimes people will pretend to make the necessary changes just to keep you in a relationship. And ladies, I don't know if you've been through that, where you've forgiven somebody, especially a man you were involved with, and he changed for a little bit, and then he went right back to that same pattern again. He was desperate to hold on to you. So therefore, he knew he had to make it look good, that he had to make some changes. But because those changes weren't real, he couldn't maintain them. He went back to his old nature. So understand, desperate people do desperate things. And sometimes it's just all about keeping you in a relationship. And then B, pray. And if God's answer is to let go, then you guys, we got to learn to let go, because goodbye is sometimes a blessing from God. Number 3, stop looking for closure where there is none. Sometimes when something is over, it's just over. Quit searching and going back, trying to figure out who did what and this, that, and the other. Sometimes when it's over, it don't even matter what happened. nothing's going to change. You finding out, you wasting all your energy trying to figure out who did what and who said what, and trying to go through people's phones and go on their pages and stuff and look back to see what they was doing. When it's over, it's over. And so we have to learn to stop looking for closure where there is none. Number one, stop expecting people to always treat you the way that you treat them. You know, all you can do is govern yourself according to how you want to be treated. And the Bible talks about us treating others as we would like to be treated, you know, and doing things as unto God, you know, but everybody doesn't have that kind of heart. And I know we want people to have that heart, but that's a choice that we all make. That's an individual choice. And everybody just doesn't have that spirit. So we've got to stop expecting that from everybody and just understand that people are people. People are going to do people stuff. People are going to lie to you. People are going to hurt you. People are going to deceive you. And we have to put ourselves in a position that if that happens, we deal with it accordingly, but we have to know how to let go and move on and stop looking for closure where there is none. Sometimes people just aren't the right people to be in your life. Nothing to close about that, nothing to talk about. It is what it is. Sometimes that man was not the man God wanted in your life. Nothing to talk about. He's just not the one that's for you. Number two, learn to demand respect at all costs. You know, sometimes we try to compromise and try to get along with people, and then we end up losing their respect because they see us as weak. You have to make sure everybody in your circle respects you at all costs. And when the respect is gone, you need to get gone. I'll tell anybody, anytime the respect is gone from the relationship, because respect will breed love. But anytime the respect is gone, you need to be gone, because lack of respect is going to bring a lot of negative things, a lot of bad things into your life. Because when you don't respect something, you don't mind damaging it. You don't mind hurting it. You don't even mind throwing it away. So having respect is key over everything. The love will come, but the respect must be there. Number three, analyze your actions in the situation. Come face to face with what you did wrong. Stop looking for closure, because sometimes you were the problem. Sometimes you're the one that was being petty. Sometimes you were the one that was being selfish. Sometimes you were the one that was being greedy. You have to look at your actions and stop blaming people all the time just because something didn't work out. Understand, we're not perfect. We're human. We're going to make mistakes. But you need to analyze your actions in the situation instead of trying to reach out to that person and make them answer 20 questions about why things didn't work. Look at yourself. Look in yourself. You know there are some things that you didn't do that you should have done. So analyze yourself. Come face to face with what you did wrong. And then number 4, learn from it and try to do better. Try not to repeat that behavior next time. You don't need to look for closure with them. You need to figure out, what is it that I'm doing wrong? What is it that's unattractive about me? What is it that makes somebody want to leave me? That's with your children. That's with your family. That's with a spouse. That's with a significant other. When people don't want to be around you, there is something that you are doing. And that's what you need to analyze, is your actions. Maybe it's your attitude. Maybe you're snappy. Maybe you got a smart mouth. Maybe, you're moody. Analyze yourself. A lot of times we don't need to look for closure. We need to look within ourselves. And number 5, when you realize that your behavior is the one that turns somebody else away, is your behavior that makes people not want to be around you, learn to apologize and change that behavior if you want to attract good things in your life, and learn how to move on. Number 4, learn to say okay without always knowing the when, what, where, and why. Sometimes we want to be many detectives because we feel like, we got to know everything. we want to know who did this and what and the why am I doing this and why am I saying okay to this. Sometimes you just need to learn to say okay, simply because you will wear yourself out sometimes trying to get all of these answers. When, number one, sometimes stuff just happens. Good things come to good people, but also some bad things happen to good people. It's part of life. God said it would be so. Rain falls on the just as well as the unjust. So, number one, sometimes things just happen. There is no answer as to why. There is no reason, and there's nothing you did wrong. There's nothing you said wrong. You was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, and those things have happened. Number two, learn to say okay and just accept some things. Don't always internalize and blame yourself. You're not always the blame, especially when a relationship doesn't work. It takes two people to end a relationship. It takes two people to keep a relationship together. So there's fault on both sides. So don't just sit up and internalize and blame yourself the whole time. Analyze, like I said earlier, what you did wrong. Fix your behavior, but that other person needs to fix their behavior as well. Number three, be at peace with the fact that if somebody leaves you, that they weren't meant to be in your life. Sometimes their season is up, and we have to understand God puts people in our lives for a reason, a season, and some people are lifetime friends, lifetime partners. And cherish that, because whatever time you have with somebody should not be a time of resentment when they leave. Cherish the time you have with people while they're there, because they might not always want to be there, or they might not always be able to be there because their season may be up. So we need to start appreciating people more, loving people more, telling people thank you more, checking on people a little bit more, and just letting them know that I appreciate you being my friend. Even if that friendship ends next week, let them know that you appreciated the time that they did spend with you. And stop worrying so much about who's going to leave and who's going to stay. And then when they do leave, quit trying to run down and find out from everybody what happened. Sometimes people just need to move on. Okay? And then number four, God protects us with goodbyes. Number one, God can see people's motives. He sees the things that you don't see. He hears what they say when you're not in the room. Number two, He sees people's heart. He knows when somebody has a lot of scars on their heart, or that they weren't raised right, or they were raised to be deceitful, and they're trying to do right, but they got that deceitful spirit because that's all that they know. Sometimes people can't be with you because they're trying to outrun what they know. They haven't been changed. They haven't been delivered. So a lot of times they can't do any more than what they know to do, because they've got a spirit in them. They got that behavior in them that they have not given over to God. So understand, God sees people's hearts. So a lot of times He'll let them go on before they damage your life and derail you and have you going in a direction that it's going to take years for you to get out of. So understand, He protects us with goodbyes. Number three, He knows if they're going to be a hindrance to you living out your fullest potential. Sometimes God will remove people and you're thinking things are going well, but you don't know what God knows. Sometimes God has a plan for you, and that person is not going to be supportive. That person is going to be a hindrance. That person is going to be jealous of your success. That person is going to try to be a stumbling block because they don't want you to get any further than they are. They don't want you in the limelight. See, God knows those things. Number four, God knows what's counterfeit, and God knows what's real. One thing I've learned, and I had to experience this for myself, every man that's in the church is not God's man. Every man that wears a nice suit and gets up in a pulpit is not God's man. And I was deceived in my own life But had I listened to God, God was already trying to show me that. But everything looked so good from the outside. Everything looked like it was matching up, going to church, active in church, all this and that, But one thing, God will always try to steer you in the right direction, but he won't force you to listen. And he didn't force me to listen, but I had to learn the hard way that what I thought I was getting in that God-fearing man, in that man that was going to be there for life, that man that was going to be my prayer partner, my prayer warrior, the protector of our house, the protector of our children, that was counterfeit. But God knows. And that's why God tries to send you signs. He tries to send people to you. He tries to show you things before you make that step and get yourself into something, that's not real. So God knows what's counterfeit and God knows what's real, because the enemy can make it look real good. He can make it look good, smell good, all of that. So understand, God knows, because God knows the heart. Number 5. We must learn to trust the process and know that God has your best interests in mind. He says it in his word that his plans are to give us a hope, for us to progress. He wants to see us be blessed. So he's not trying to harm us when he removes people and things. So it's not always a point of asking what and why God did what he did. Sometimes you just need to say, thank you, Lord. Because God will show you later on why he moved people out of your lives. But in that moment when your emotions are all tied up and you feeling like you need to be with those people, sometimes we can't see. And sometimes the hardest thing to say to God is okay. Because you don't want to accept it, because you can't see yourself without those people in your lives. But that's why it's good to build your relationship with God, because you will learn to say okay through the tears, through the loneliness, through all of that. You will learn to say okay, and God will show you later on why it had to be the way that it was. Because God doesn't always answer you when you're asking him right at that moment. Why are you allowing this to happen to me? Why are you taking this person from me? Why are you letting them treat me like that? Sometimes you get your answer later. And then number 6, understand that failure is part of life's process. You win some, you lose some, you're going to fail, you're going to succeed. That doesn't make you less than anybody, and that doesn't make you better than anybody. It's all part of the process to make you stronger and teach you how to be patient and teach you how to persevere. Number 5, stop arguing with, I'm going to say foolish because I'm on camera, foolish people. We all know people that will argue with a stick, I used to say, will argue with a doorknob. They just gotta be, they ready for a fight all the time. Why are you arguing with those kind of people? Number 1, recognize when a situation or discussion is beneath you. Sometimes you have gone so far, you guys. Why are you letting people bring you back into that hood, that ghetto, that low-minded thinking, and get into a discussion with them and get into an argument with them? Some things, as you're going on in life, they're just going to be beneath you. They're not going to even be worth your conversation. And that's when you learn to just say, okay, all right, okay, all right, okay, and walk away. Number 2, nothing is worth throwing away all of your hard work and turning you back to what you've worked so hard to get away from. Some of us have come from some low places. Some of us have come from dysfunction. Because I know my house was dysfunction growing up. So some of us have come from some dysfunctional places, some lack of communication places, some just bad habits, just straight up ignorant places. So when God has taken you up from that and pulled you out of that and taught you a better way and allowed you to experience some things in life so that you know how to talk to people, you know how to respect people, you know how to get your point across without yelling and cursing and putting your hands on people. Why argue with a foolish person and get yourself caught back up into that. You have come too far to allow them to take you back, and I like to say, to the gutter. So understand that. Don't let them take you back to the gutter where they're comfortable with, because that's their comfort zone. You go back to the gutter with them after God done brought you out, you're going to lose, because they've been practicing that every day, all day. You done got away from it. So you're going to be a little bit rusty trying to go back into their territory. So it's not worth it. Number 3, learn to grow through some things. And remember, sometimes silence is the best response. You don't have to respond to everything somebody says to you. You don't have to respond to everything somebody text messages you or sends on your Instagram. Learn to be silent sometimes, because you can shut a fool down just by not responding. They'll be mad as all get out that you're not responding to them. Let them have a whole fit by themselves, because it's not worth your peace. It's not even worth your time to deal with a foolish person, because no matter what you say, it's not going to be logic to them. It'll make sense to you because of the level that you're on. So don't expect people that have low-minded thinking to be able to have an intelligent conversation with you. So stop arguing with foolish people, okay? So silence is your best response sometimes. And then never argue with foolish people. They drag you down to their level, and they remind you of what you fought so hard to get away from. And then as you're being dragged down to that level, remind yourself, you don't look good in that orange jumpsuit. You're not going to look good. Nobody looks good in that orange jumpsuit. So don't let anybody take you to the point where you want to put your hands on them. We're too grown for that. We're too grown for that. We need to learn to walk away and let ignorance be by itself. Let foolishness be by itself. And then number 5, sometimes just letting a foolish person believe they're right will finally end the doggone conversation. Sometimes you just want them to, sorry for the way I say this, just shut up. And sometimes the best way to make them shut up is just say, okay, you know what? All right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Great. That's the only way you're going to shut them up, because they got argument in them for days. They don't have nothing else to do but fight with you. So learn to say okay and just shut the conversation down. And then number 6, learn to let people think what they want to think about you. You know, it took me a long time to get there, because I always wanted everybody to think very highly of me. And there are people that no matter what you do, no matter what you accomplish, no matter how much, accolades you get in life, they still gonna have a problem with you. So you have got to learn to stop worrying about what people think about you. The only person that matters, the only person whose voice you need to be listening to is God's, and listening to your own. So don't let the voices of other people make you change your mind about yourself and have you talking crazy about yourself. Number 7, you don't owe an explanation to anyone. Just remember, owe no man anything but love. That's what the Bible says. So you don't owe people long explanations about why you make a decision, why you decided not to do something, why you decided to move, why you decided to make a career change. That's personal. If you choose to sit down and talk about it with somebody that you care about or that you trust, that's fine. But you don't owe anybody anything. And then number 6, just chill to the next episode. Number 1, remember everything in life is temporary. Nothing stays the same, you guys. I don't care how hard you try to make it stay the same. Nothing stays the same. Case in point, we're all growing. We're all getting older every year. Nothing stays the same. You're not the same person you were last year. Your body is not even the same as it was last year. And as hard as you try, as you get older, things are gonna change. And so you have to expect some things to change and just do your best with what you're dealing with. But just remember, just chill, enjoy the ride, enjoy where you are, your station in life. Don't keep wishing back for when you had younger days and wishing you could do this over again, wishing you can do that over again. You're wasting time. You just need to chill to the next episode because things are going to change again. So you better enjoy the episode that you're in right now because you don't know what's coming in that next one. Number 2, expect things to change and then do your best to brace yourself for it. You know, the best thing you can do in life is not get too comfortable with people and not get too comfortable with life in general, with this world, because as we can see on the news day by day, things are changing. And that's why it's so important that you're anchored in God. That's the one thing that does not change. Everything else changes. And God is the only thing that's going to be solid in your life. That's the only anchor in your life. And that's why it's so important to have a connection with God and have a foundation so that you'll be anchored. Because things are going to change and you're going to have to learn how to bob and weave and adapt to the changes in life. Because they're going to change whether you like it or not. So you might as well have an anchor, some support, somebody to call on, somebody to pray to and help you get through it in your times of weakness. So expect things to change and then do your best to brace yourself for it. Number 3, we need to learn how to welcome change. Hey, Shawana, you know, we need to welcome change. You know, people that grow, people that are successful, they're always looking for change. They're always looking for the next thing, the newest thing, the best thing. So they're always chilling to the next episode because they can't wait for the next version to come out. They don't even know what it's going to do, but they get excited just knowing another version of something is coming out. And we need to learn to get excited about life. You know, just like I said about these birthdays, get excited about what's next. Get excited, you know, about what God has for you and for your future and expect it to be good. You know, don't always listen to all these people that are always talking about, oh, this world, you know, it's coming to an end. Oh, this world, you know, in the next two months, you know, they're going to shut this down. Nobody knows what's going to happen. They can predict what they want to predict, but God is in control. So you may as well be happy where you are and look forward to the next episode. And try not to listen to all that negative news and try not to listen to all those naysayers that don't have any joy in their life. They don't have anything to look forward to. Start surrounding yourself around people that are talking about, oh yeah, let's plan our next trip. Oh yeah, we're going to do this. You know, we're going to try this. We're going to learn this language. Get around people that are looking forward to the next episode, because welcoming change helps you to look at it as an opportunity to grow. Number 4, stop sweating the small stuff. Everything is not worth your time. Everything is not worth your worry. Make sure whatever you letting yourself get all worked up over is worth it. Because that small stuff will eat you alive. A lot of people are worked up about small things that they need to give over to God. Number 5, look for the little things in life that make you grateful to God. You know, you may not have the biggest house. You may not have the newest car. You know, I laugh sometimes because, you know, at my job, you know, all the people, they keep buying all these new cars and putting themselves in debt. And that's fine if they want to do that. But they're like, Miss Karen, you still driving your little white work car? I said, yes, ma'am. It serves a purpose and it's great on gas. And they're always complaining about how much gas these vehicles are using and how much insurance is and all of that. And I just listen to them. But you have to allow people to do what they got to do. If that's what makes you happy, that's not my portion. I'm happy with just the little things. I'm happy that I got a car that I can drive to work. I got 2 cars. So I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful that my car is good on gas. You know, things like that. I'm grateful to have a job. I'm grateful to have my own home. You know, you have to find things to make you feel grateful every day. And that will help you chill out and stop worrying about what everybody else has. Stop wishing for what everybody else has. When you learn to be grateful for what you have, those thoughts will go out of your head and you'll be able to chill and relax and enjoy what God has given you. Number 6, learn to meditate and mentally reset when life gets overwhelming. And life is going to get overwhelming sometimes, you guys. You have got to find a way to cut life off. You've got to find a way to shut down and reset. It's just like a cell phone, you guys. You got information coming at you all day. You got stress. You got, challenges coming at you all day, and you never reset it. Just like with a phone, that phone is going to start acting up. Just like a person, when you have never taken the time to mentally just shut off and reset, you're going to be cranky, you're going to be irritable, your health is going to suffer, your attitude going to be nasty. So that's just like that phone not working properly. If you don't ever shut down and fade to black, sometimes you know how we can turn our phones off for an hour or so and then bring it back up and it's working fast and everything's moving like it's supposed to. That's the same thing with your mental health. You have got to shut down and shut off. Get off social media. Get off watching TV. Just get quiet. Get away from the kids. Whatever you got to do, you have to learn how to mentally shut down from time to time. Meditate. Talk to God. Get quiet so that you can reset, so that you can be your best when you do come back, you guys. And then number 7, get your rest. You are not Superwoman. You don't have to do everything right now, today. Get your rest, because when you don't get a proper amount of rest, just like I said before, it's going to affect your health. It's going to affect your mood. It's going to affect how you're able to love people. You'll be doing stuff out of obligation. Your heart won't be in it because you're tired. You're tired, you're stressed, and you're not getting enough rest. So in order to put our best self forward, we've got to take care of these bodies, you guys. We're not going to get another one, not on this side. So learn to get your rest so that you can just mellow out and that you can chill to the next episode. And then number 8, learn to brainstorm about the solutions rather than whining and focusing and talking about the problems all the time. You're smart. This ain't your first rodeo. You've been through stuff before. You have to calm yourself down so that you can think intelligently and come up with a plan. So whatever you got yourself into, you have the power. God has put enough stuff in each and every one of us for us to be able to get ourselves out of some of the stuff we get ourselves into. Yes, we need to pray to God. Yes, we need to ask people to pray for us. But at the end of the day, you got yourself into it. God is going to give you the strength to get out of it. But you have got to get to your right mind, just like the prodigal son. He got himself into some stuff, took all that money, got down there partying, having a good time, broke. Then he had to literally beg like the servants, to try to get something to eat. And he had to come back to his father. But he came back saying that he would be a servant just so he could come back to his father's house, because he came back with the right mindset and the right appreciation for all that his father had done for him. So sometimes you need to brainstorm the solutions and stop talking to those friends that don't have any good advice for you. You need to talk to people that have experience in the area of the problem that you're dealing with and that have had a successful outcome, not the ones that want to join the pity party with you, because girl, I done been through that too. Not her. I'm talking about that one that's been through it and you've seen her get to the other side. That's who you need to talk about brainstorming solutions to your problems to. You don't need anybody to sit around and pat you on the back and say, girl, me too. No, you don't need that. You need somebody to help you move on to the next level so that you can get that situation taken care of. Number 9, remember, chronic stress increases the risk of heart disease and it actually weakens your immune system. If you're always getting sick, you're always keeping a cold, you're always getting sinus infections, you're always getting UTIs, you're always having stomach problems, check yourself. It's probably your stress level. You have stressed and you've worked so hard and you've not given your body a break. You've not taken care of yourself like you're supposed to. Your body is going to break down. Your immune system is going to break down. You're going to catch everything that's out there simply because you have not taken the time to preserve or to maintain what God has given you, because you've allowed the mental stress to be the God in your life. You've allowed the mental stress to have all the attention in your life. So you're the only one that can do that. You're the only one that can change that. And then number 10, learn to be flexible without compromising your principles and your morals. It's okay to agree with somebody, just to be able to say, you know what, okay, I tell you what, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do such and such your way, and then we're going to do such and such my way. That way you're not compromising your morals and you're not compromising your principles. Learn how to come to a happy medium with people and explain your side to them, why you feel like this will work, and allow them to explain to you why what they're saying will work. And then be mature enough to come to a meeting ground in the middle so that both of you feel heard. And then number 11, determine the source of your worry so you can do something about it. Don't just be around here being worried and being stressed out over nothing. Figure out what is your source of stress so you can do something about it, so you can change it before it's too late. And then 12, put some space in your life. Learn to get away sometime. That means get away from people. That means get away from your job sometimes, and just get away from your obligations. It's one thing to always be there for people. Hey, Michael. And it's one thing to always be that dependable employee. And it's always that person that you can call and they'll be Johnny on the spot. But that person gets tired too. That person needs to put some space between you and them sometimes. Sometimes you just need some time to yourself to figure out who you are and what God wants you to do with your life. So learn to put some space in your life. Make the provisions to be able to take that little small vacation. You ain't got to spend a lot of money to get away. Take that time if you've got that PTO time on your job. Learn to take some days off just to mentally reset and allow your body to rest. You have got to prioritize yourself. That job will be okay without you for a few days. And see, I've always had issues with taking off from work, but you know what? I'm doing better about that because I asked God to help me to put myself first. Because at the end of the day, if you get stressed out and you allow your body to get weak and your immune system to get weak and you get sick and can't do that job, they will replace you. May not send you a get well card. You just don't know. So understand that that's a business. And so they are always going to replace you if they need to, if you can't do your job. So you need to put yourself in the mindset of how can I be the best employee I can be? The way I can be the best employee I can be is to take some time off. That way my attitude is right when I come to work. That way I'm sharp when I come to work. That way I'm not hating my job and spreading negativity at my job. Same way with your family. If you don't take some space away from them, you will start resenting them and feeling like your whole life is about them. You never have any time for yourself. Everybody wants something from me. You have got to put some space in your life, you guys. And learn to say, okay, it's okay for you to want that. And it's okay for you to do that. You deserve that. And then I think I misnumbered. I want to say I'm on 13. Put things into proper perspective. Sometimes you just have to say okay because you finally put things in proper perspective. Sometimes what you're fighting over is not even worth it. And sometimes just saying okay is a sign that, okay, I put this in the proper perspective. You know, I'm about to ruin all of this over this one little thing. I'm about to mess up years of connection by saying the wrong thing or letting my temper, you know, get the best of me. I need to put things in proper perspective and realize what's valuable to me, what's worth my time, and what's worth my energy. And I want to say I'm on 14. We need to learn how to laugh, you guys. Learn how to not be so serious. You got to learn how to chill sometimes. Sometimes you just got to turn on some music and you just got to bust a move sometimes, because it does something for you. Those endorphins, they will make you feel so good about yourself when you just learn how to laugh and just enjoy yourself, you know, without waiting on permission, not waiting for the right time, not waiting for people to come around and do stuff with you. You've got to learn how to enjoy yourself for where you are. Next, learn to engage with other people. Stop thinking that your circle is the only people you need to engage with, because you need to learn what's going on outside of your little world, you know, so that you can decide if you want to be a part of it or not. Because what happens when you stay in the same circle, everybody's talking the same thing, and you never really learn anything new because y'all have been around each other so much. Y'all aren't sharing really any new information. You get new information from dealing with other people, from stepping outside of the box. So learn how to engage with other people. And number, I want to say 15 or 16, get out of your own head. Stop overthinking everything. It's fine to be cautious, but don't be so cautious that you stop living. Don't be so cautious that you turn other people away. Don't be so cautious that you don't trust God. Be careful with that, because sometimes you can overdo it, you can overthink it, and you may miss out on some of the best moments of your life. And so my final thought, you guys, is this day-to-day life that we live, it gives us plenty of reason to stay on edge and be chronically stressed. But in order to combat the fatigue and the health issues, we must learn our own way to chill and to find our happy place as often as we possibly can. And we need to learn how to be happy for no reason. You don't have to have a reason. You don't have to have people in your life to be happy. You just choose to be happy. You don't have to have everything to be happy. Just be grateful for what you have. And then stop living a life to please other people. Learn how to please yourself. Learn how to please God. You know, pleasing other people is always temporary, because while you make them happy on one hand, as soon as you stop doing what you're doing for them, they're no longer happy with you. So the happiness is fleeting when you're doing it for other people. So learn how to please yourself. And then learn, you guys, to just chill to the next episode. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys have an amazing weekend. And we're going to end this podcast. And we're going to listen to a little bit of Dr. Dre. Okay? I don't know if y'all got sunglasses, but you got to learn how to chill. Because you know what? Life is too short to be unhappy. Hey. All right, you guys. Thank you for watching. I love you guys. And I will see you guys next week. Have a blessed weekend. Y'all take care and stay blessed. Hey.